This is the story of one of the most feared and haunted places in all of India, a fortress so steeped in dread that it is often called the most terrifying location the country has ever known. The Indian government itself has banned entry into this fort after sundown, and the locals will tell you why, in hushed voices and averted eyes, because this place, they say, is never truly empty. Those who have dared to enter its walls after dark have never come back quite the same. Something lives within those ancient stones, something that, if it chooses to show itself, does not let you leave. One night, a group of tourists decided they had heard enough. Armed with skepticism and the foolish courage that comes with numbers, they set out on what they called an adventure. Their plan was simple: enter the fort under cover of darkness and prove once and for all that the legends surrounding it were nothing but folklore, superstition, the overactive imagination of fearful minds. They were certain that this fortress held no secrets, that its terrifying reputation had no roots in reality. They were wrong. They were convinced that there was no truth to any of it, that these stories were nothing more than superstition, passed down through generations by people who simply did not know better. But what they had forgotten, what they had so carelessly dismissed, is that not everything that exists in this world can be seen. There are things that dwell beyond the reach of rational thought, things that stop even the most educated, the most composed of minds dead in their tracks. And the moment they stepped through the gates of that fortress, they felt it. Something was wrong. Deeply, unmistakably wrong. The air grew still, as though it had stopped breathing. The temperature dropped sharply, not gradually, but all at once, like the world itself had flinched. And then came the silence. A silence so absolute, so unnatural, that it swallowed every sound around them, every whisper, every footstep, every nervous breath. It was as if something ancient lived within those walls, something patient, something that had been waiting for them, specifically for a very long time. This incident takes place in one of Rajasthan's oldest and most foreboding fortresses, Bhangarh Fort, a crumbling monument shrouded in legends of dark curses and black magic, whispered about in fearful tones for centuries. 5 friends had made the journey from Jaipur with a simple plan: film a night challenge video inside the haunted fort and post it online. What they did not know, what none of them could have known, was that whatever lived inside those walls had already been expecting them. Among the group was Rahul, a rational, grounded young man who took pride in his disbelief. Ghosts were fiction to him. Fear was weakness. There was also Mira, camera always in hand, recording everything, narrating every moment for their audience. And the rest of the group shared the same certainty. Not one of them gave the supernatural so much as a passing thought. Before they entered, everything still felt like an adventure. They joked outside the gates as the sun hung low and golden in the sky. The fort looked like nothing more than an old, crumbling ruin, impressive, yes, but hardly frightening in the dying light of day. But as the sun finally sank below the horizon and darkness began to close in, something shifted. No birds, no insects, no animals of any kind. As though every living creature in the surrounding land had retreated into hiding, as though the wilderness itself had sensed what was coming and wanted no part of it. The moment they stepped inside, their laughter began to fade slowly, quietly, without any of them even noticing it was gone. They had entered before sunset, but the heavy iron gate swung shut behind them with a finality that sent a chill down every spine. And as they moved deeper into the fortress, their phones began to behave strangely. Signals dropped without warning. Cameras flickered and died for seconds at a time, as though something in the air itself was interfering. Then they heard it. Footsteps. Directly ahead of them, clear, Deliberate, unhurried. Rahul swung his torch toward the sound, and the beam cut through the darkness to reveal nothing. No figure, no shape, no explanation. And yet the footsteps continued. The darkness had now consumed the fort entirely. The walls themselves seemed to be closing in, breathing as though the ancient structure was slowly waking from a long and terrible sleep. From deep within the corridors came a sound none of them could explain, a low, barely audible humming. A whisper, one that seemed to be calling out names. Then one of the girls screamed. She had seen a woman on the balcony above them, motionless, watching, suspended in the dark like something that did not belong to the living world. Rahul moved to calm the group. He turned, searching for reason, searching for logic, and then he saw it himself. A shadow, moving along the wall ahead of them, shifting, drifting with no body to cast it. As they moved through the darkness, they came upon a door that had not been there before, or if it had, none of them had noticed it. It stood slightly ajar, as though it had opened on its own, with nothing beyond it but absolute blackness. Rahul raised the torch and aimed it inside. And then a whisper came, from directly ahead, soft, deliberate, calling each of them by name, one by one. Before any of them could react, the door slammed shut on its own. Panic tore through the group instantly. Rahul forced it open again, and what he found on the other side stopped every breath in his body. There was no figure, no shadow, no visible form of any kind, only a presence. Something vast and aware, filling the room without shape or explanation. By the time morning came and the sun finally rose over the ruins, only 2 of them made it out. They were found unconscious near the fort's entrance, collapsed against the gate as though they had been trying to claw their way through it. The others never emerged. No trace of them was found inside, not a footprint, not a belonging, not a sound. Authorities conducted a full search of the fortress. The fort gave nothing back, but Rahul's camera was recovered, intact. Most of the footage was corrupted beyond recovery, but in one brief fragment, less than 2 seconds long, there was a sound. A whisper, clear and close and deliberate. Cutting through the static, it was calling their names. To this day, the haunted fortress remains sealed after sunset. No exceptions, no permissions granted. The gates close as the last light dies, and they do not open again until morning. But the locals will tell you the stories have never stopped. Lights seen moving through the fort's interior long after darkness falls, drifting through corridors where no living person should be. Shadows gathering along the inner walls where nothing casts them, and every morning without fail, fresh footprints discovered near the entrance gates, pressed into the dust as though someone had only just arrived, or as though something had finally found its way out. The fort is still there, the gates still close at sunset, and those footprints still appear every morning. So if you ever find yourself in Rajasthan and you feel that pull toward those ancient walls, ask yourself one thing first. Are you walking in, or are you already being invited?